Alright, so here we go. See if I can get this. Um, how would I say? I actually was speaking with brother Jason Bossman. I forget what his YouTube channel is, but he's at 153news.net. And here you go, Jason. I said I was going to send this to you, but I thought it'd be easier to make a video real quick. And then I'll just share this one. This is Daniel chapter 7. And yeah, it takes a long time just to do one page, so doing the whole Bible in my lifetime, I don't think that's ever going to happen. Pick chapters of books to do. Of course, down to Revelations to be to the most important for the time that we live in. But dear Jason Bossman, and prior to everything else, Yeshua HaMashiach, bless you all. Yehudeh Yeshua means praise, salvation of the Holy Anointed One. You know, HaMashiach, the Mashiach, the Anointed One. And it's kind of cool. It's winter, so here in Southern California, I didn't have to have the fan on, so it probably sounds a little quieter. Turn this music down a little. And I'm going to go through this really quick because I know that you could just stop and pause. But as I talk, I'm going to use Jason as a person to be speaking to, but whoever's watching this, any brother and sister, I hope this helps. I'm not going to explain everything because I don't want to give the enemy a heads up on how to do stuff, but I'm sure they have their great translators also. Ignore this part, that wasn't it. So we're definitely in the 6900th year because, as you know, the 7,000th year is the year of rest. So for 1,000 years after Satan's locked up, we get 1,000 years to live when we get back home in the true Jerusalem, true Israel. That's to say Israel in English. But so here you have the Strong's number. You could use Thayer's and Brown's and other translation works, but this is going to be the one on this one. I've translated this many times. I shouldn't say many, this is my third time at it. Learning every single time, but that's to help with the Strong's number. The first, let me get down here. So that's what New Hebrew looks like. The Talmudic, the kind of Hebrew you would see in Israel today. This is what you would call Proto-Canaanite, Phoenician, Paleo-Hebrew, and this is what was written by Moshe. It may have looked a little different, all the way King David, and even Yohanan the Baptizer, Yeshua, and Yohanan, who wrote the book of Revelations, would have written this. That's right, the Bible, the New Testament, was not written in Greek, but I don't want to get into that. That's not what this is about today. I want you all to have an actual translation. So, real quick, if you see a square like this, it just means that this word is unidentifiable. There's going to be controversy of the scholars who say, well, it went this way or went that way. And this way you can kind of use the Holy Spirit to guide you. You don't see this in final format because Yeshua says I'm not allowed to do that here. I have to go to a new location before I can put this in final format, which means you'll just read it as in English, straight across. So as in Hebrew, you're going to start from here and you're going to read like that. So one line, start here again, 2 lines, come down here, 3 lines, come down here, 4 lines. Alright, so what else do I need to describe? Can I get in here? You'll start to see words. I put them, if you see a word that's inside a bracket like this, it just means that the Strong's recommended this more contemporary meaning of the same word. And if you see, let me find one in here, because I know I did it a few times. But Melech, that's a popular one. Melech means king, but it can mean a few other things as well. Here it is. So, Melech, king, reign, ruler. Twice it was even used for queen, but that wasn't a true translation. I don't want to get into that. And in today's time, President Trump isn't really a king, or Putin isn't a king, or any of these other people. We would use ruler. So if you see a bracketed thing and a period, that's my own personal, and the Holy Spirit really moved me to that. But so like President Trump would be a ruler, and even though you could say he's a puppet and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter. He is the man who has the power of the pen, and he can give orders. He is a ruler, whether you want to accept it or not. So since he's the president of this nation that I currently live in, I'll use him as an example. So President Trump is the ruler of the United States of America. He can give an order. I mean, if he wanted to, he could command to go after Nancy Pelosi and have her arrested and all that kind of stuff. Uh, no one else can. I mean, maybe they could, but not with his kind of authority. No one else can with that authority. Of course, he's not going to do that right now, but I'm just giving you an example of the real power of a ruler. And in the past, we've had kings who had the authority. But when you get like something like the Queen Elizabeth, there's Parliament. So in reality, she doesn't have the authority to just say, go get them. She might be able to pay somebody to do it on the side, but that's different. So let's go back to the beginning. I'll just give that as an example. Try to get through this as quickly as possible. So again, this is Daniel chapter 11. You'll see, started with verse 1, kind of up here, verse 1 through 4. And as I'm going through this again, I'm going to go fast, but you'll see something like here where it says 2, or you'll see a line like that, and that'll start verse 3. So then verse 4, and you'll be able to tell this is literal. And let me go back into here. There's going to be things that were also added, like I'll do it right here. If you see a C right there for this, it just means it was a complement, meaning it's still under debate which of these words it meant during the actual translation that they used. Again, use the Holy Spirit. And when I do this in final format, Yeshua willing, I'll be able to share that with you. But from here, what else should I tell you? When you see these words, the first word that you see on the translation is going to be what corresponds to the Strong's. But that doesn't mean that's the actual best translation of that word. When you see the second word, third word, fourth, it just goes in order of the times it's used with this literal word. Reish. A lot of you know that. Reish usually means the head of something, the chief, the top, the beginning, company captain. There's a few more words, but I just didn't have the space. They kind of all mean the same thing in the English. So when you're looking at the Hebrew, you have to understand, so what came before it and what comes after it to kind of give you what this meaning. And here's the most awesome part of this. It doesn't matter how well you are a translator, if you don't have the Holy Spirit, it doesn't matter how wise you are in the world, you will not understand what you're translating. That's why a lot of these translations are so polluted. But there's a good reason for that, which I don't want to talk about right now. Right now, let's just go ahead and go through Daniel chapter 7. Now I'm going to run through it kind of like this, and I'll go like that. And I hope this helps you. So I'll start with the first and see how it goes. All right, you're all ready? Praise Yeshua. I hope that you get this down to the best of your ability. And my battery is saying it's low. Let me see. It says it has 8 minutes on it. All right. So here we go. If this goes off, I'll just start over. All right. So right. This is starting with verse 5. 6. It starts at verse 7. Well, that's easier than that. Wow, I hope this isn't blurry. Alright, should I bless you all? I'm looking through the little view, or, the screen that pops out thing. Oh, I should have said we're starting at verse 10, but let's just keep going. If you see an S, that just means standard. That's, you have seen it in the past. Just means that's the standard variation. You'll see things where they say variation, and it's kind of important, but I'm not here to teach that today. Oh, that was something different. It's that's what I should have explained. I'm glad that actually happened. If you see 2 dots there, that means this same word has more than 2 meanings, and these little plus signs that have been going on, that number is going to correspond before you get to the equal sign. That's what the 2 dots mean. That means after the equal sign, that same word can also mean these things, and you're going to see that in a few places. I'll explain some other stuff as we go along. Let's see, what's that? Alright, starting at verse 13. Here we go. If you see a square, that's actually kind of personal. I'm not ready to explain that one yet. Important stuff, but only for the holy ones. Yeah, the word saint doesn't exist for us, brothers and sisters. We're not saints, we are holy. But the Vatican didn't want people being called holy except the priesthood and the Pope, for various reasons, starting in verse 14. Let's see, is that all there? Because of your holy. If you see a flag, generally it meant that word can also be reversed, so it can mean slander as well as language. Could be just means the reverse can be used of that word. That's usually where you get a pronunciation change. That's something for the Holy Ones to learn differently from what this is. Let's go there. Good thing you can pause because I know this probably isn't so easy to go by, but I'm glad the battery hasn't run out yet. Okay, starting at verse 17, and here's the first one I see. May have already passed a few, but I wanted to get to this. The pyramid thing means there's more than one way to spell the same word. Like Yeshua, for example. A lot of people say Yeshua or Yeshua or Yahushua. That's incorrect, but it's close enough. Yahushua didn't exist till later. I already did the translation. We can talk about that, but it's pronounced Yeshua. So that's pretty important to know what your Creator's and Savior's name is. All right. And I was just responding to someone's comment, and no offense to those who still use Jesus, because I sure used it for over a decade. And what you're really saying when you use that word is you're hailing Zeus and Yeshua. And I don't hail anyone except Yeshua, but to teach you, I mean, you could cast out demons in the name of your dog. Seriously, I don't mean to sound offensive, but it's the faith people stand behind because words are very, very powerful. They're recorded. Everything you say is recorded. So, yeah, these things, again, that's for the Holy Ones. I'll explain that if we meet in person. But this is just to give you the basic interpretation so you can see for yourself. You see that again, that's a flag. So rest, residue, but it could also means remain or leave. So for remain it was used 46 times, for leave 75. So again, you have to really see what it was talking about before you can make a good judgment call on what the Spirit's teaching you, because as you all know, the Spirit of the Anti-Mashiach is strong and abundant and all around us. But the Spirit of our Father is far greater, and through His Spirit we conquer not only this world, but anything that's cast at us from the wicked. All right, so this starts chapter 7, verse 20. Here we go. Make sure I get that all in there. I'm not sure I'll ever do this again. I promised Jason I'd get this out, but this is just to help people with chapter 7. It's pretty important to understand what the Anti-Mashiach is about and why he's doing what he's doing. As the Father prepares me to, Yeshua willing, create this thing called the Great Falling Away Part 3. And in a way, I kind of didn't want to do it because I have to talk about the Anti-Mashiach. And it's kind of hard to be honest without telling you all the great and wonderful things he's going to do for the children of this world, which is why they're going to worship him. And so you have to be honest about it. This sort of perdition is sure going to be powerful, wise, and appear to have the ability to be all-knowing, but it's deception. And most of the whole world will actually worship him, follow him, and take his mark. And if it wasn't for the very, very elect, there would be no chance for the weak Mashiachim. You know, they say Christians, but that word didn't exist. They're called Mashiachim. That's what you are. If you're a Christian, what you really mean is you're Mashiachim, if you really want to be saved. There's, when you come to learn the truth, you can't go back. You can backslide, but it's better if you don't. So once you have someone who understands what they're talking about, and Yeshua HaMashiach, I pray that I bring this to you without malice, deception, or anything like that. And anyone who's doing what I'm doing, if they are a liar, the reward is damnation, burning in hell. And yeah, I don't want to burn in hell with maggots, my flesh burning. That's what false teachers get to look forward to. And verse 28, so this ends it. Alright, let's go. Sometimes when I get to the end and there's a lot of space, I'll actually add in pretty much all different words where this was used. That's pronounced La Belle, heart. Alright, since I still got battery time, let me see, don't want to talk about it. Alright, Jason, that was the translation. Daniel chapter 7, and everybody else who's going to see this. Should I bless you, brothers and sisters? I don't know when I'll do when Yeshua will allow me to do the Great Falling Away Part 3, but it's going to be Part 1 and 2, put together, and it's really not up to me. It's like in my mind, so every day I'm going, what could I add to this thought, this train of thought that I'm going to put down. And so as I do Bible studies, it comes together, and so it's not something I can just put together. I mean, I could, but then it would be my own thing. But I like being inspired by the Holy Spirit, and then through revelation, He'll say, okay, do this, do that. I know it's important that we get this done because there's a lot of talk about earthquakes. Okay, I'll go there. Remember, there is going to be a great earthquake, and it's going to open up the hole, and out of that hole comes the beast. If you remember, because we are going through the seals. They're already been broken, and when the beast that comes out of the earth, that we can look forward to that in the son of perdition. It's pretty obvious that the Great Falling Away started quite a while ago, actually. And if you want to know when it started with the Nicolaitans. And you could say that was the original, I'm going to use the word Christian, because what they did is they professed to love God, but they still practiced paganism, like Easter and Christmas and stuff like that, total pagan unholy days. Among many others, and they committed fornication, sexual sin, absolutely. So, yeah, the Nicolaitans, and now we have modern-day Christianity. And for instance, like I'm here in Southern California, and we just went through they changed it to the Harvest Fest, and what that really is what they call Halloween, but to make it seem nice and all that kind of stuff. So Christians celebrating a satanic holiday, letting their children get dressed up. Yeah, I was at Barnes & Noble's today, and I saw a Harry Potter thing, and it had 666 on it. Like Barnes & Noble's, you could go to Barnes & Noble's, and right next, okay, here's parenting, and here's a young adult, and in between you have witchcraft and all that kind of stuff. And then right where the witchcraft is, you can go into the children's section, and then you have witchcraft, the social engineering kind of books, you know. So, wow, I mean, the days are short, brothers and sisters. The days are evil, and I hope this translation of Daniel helped, because it helps you understand the coming of this anti-Mashiach, who's going to be very, very powerful. He's going to be able to convince people who actually have their names written in the Book of Life, but they're going to fill themselves up with stuff of this world, which is going to make it hard for them to leave, like Mizraim. Remember when the Israelites wanted to go back to the slavery, and because it had the bread and the food and all, you know, the good life, even though they were working like slaves, but they didn't want to go out and serve their Creator because they had the good life. So, and what good is it, even if you live 120 years in pleasure, but then all eternity in hell or the lake of fire? It's better that we do what we can now to serve our Creator, so that we can have eternity with Him without pain, suffering, death, and all that kind of. I mean, it's better than all that. It's actually being able to hug your father, love your father, to say, "Hey, Father, how are you?" And he'll say, you can talk to him face to face, the Creator of everything. That's the goal, to make it to your Father. All right. I hope this translation helps. Yeshua, I bless you all. Shalom.